You're working a job, or maybe two, because you've got to pay the bills. But on the side, you're a business. You've got a business. You're an entrepreneur. Maybe you're a creator. Maybe you want to make money from the creator economy. Maybe you've got a brick and mortar business with an online presence. Maybe you're e-commerce only. Who cares? All you know is you want to take that side hustle of yours to startup levels of success. Well, if that's you, you're in the right place, especially with this podcast. That's what I did over 10 years ago. And honestly, I've been an entrepreneur for about 25 years. And now, thousands of students across the world later, that's what I want to help you do with this podcast. Hi, I'm Stacey Storino. Welcome to the Side Hustle to Startup podcast. This is episode 1. Episode 0 was the creation story, and you're free to check that out. My goal is to help you to go from tiny beginner, you're pivoting, you're starting or restarting a business, and going to mighty, so that you can leave behind that long day job or that gaggle of gig jobs aside, so that you can focus on your own business full time if that's what you want to do. Okay. So if you've got 45 seconds and you want a free and useful guide to help you make sure that your entrepreneurial journey is kicked off right, you're going to want to pick up my free guide at don'tbeafakeguru.com. It's all one word, the website, don'tbeafakeguru.com. And with it, you'll know that your brand presence is a successful one, whether you're looking to be a guru per se or not. If you've got a brand, you've got a business, then you are a brand leader, which kind of does make you a guru, my friend. Embrace it and do it right with my guide. Anyway, I created the Side Hustle to Startup podcast to give you simple, easy, and actionable tips and steps so that you can go from a super crazy busy life where your business is nothing but a side hustle right now, perhaps, to helping you grow it in a realistic way to a startup level of success. Each podcast tends to cover a quick point about what's going on in the world today and how it relates to you as an entrepreneur. Okay, and why that point matters, and what, if anything, you do about it or care about it. And we're also going to cover a tip in terms of helping you with your entrepreneurial financial offense, and then another tip to help you double down on entrepreneurial financial defense, so that this way, every single day, you can move closer to your goal of reaching startup type success. You're in the right place, so let's get started. So this episode's time-sensitive entrepreneurial point is all about the McDonald's layoffs in 2023. According to late-breaking news, especially the Wall Street Journal, ABC News, etc., McDonald's is closing its offices briefly ahead of layoffs. The U.S. offices, at least, are closing for a few days. The company is preparing to inform corporate employees about layoffs. They're having them work virtually from home. And so the concern is this like a sign of financial downturn? Do we need to be worried as entrepreneurs? Because of course, marketing and sales is integral to our businesses. If we don't have sales, we're just a hobby, right? We've got a hobby. If we're not profitable, we have an expensive hobby. So, are we worried about recession, and financial downturn? A lot of the layoffs that happened in the beginning of the year obviously were more tech-based, not all of them, but a lot of them. And the first financial bank collapse that led to FDIC protection and government stepping in, that was more of a tech-based lending institution anyway. But now, McDonald's, that's definitely a horse of a different color. That can spook a lot of people. They can get worried and say, oh no, McDonald's is fast food. It's fast drive-through. If people can't afford that, if McDonald's is reducing its staff, even if it's mostly on a corporate level, should I be concerned? You know what? The U.S. labor market does remain strong from all external indicators, but layoffs are still mounting. But again, a lot of it's in strategic areas, right? Mostly in the technology sector, where many companies did overhire after the pandemic boom, right? And maybe now they're looking to make things more lean and mean, and they're looking to reduce their they're looking to cut the fat, right? But with McDonald's, its global sales rose nearly 11% in 2022, while sales in the US otherwise overall climbed about 6%. And total restaurant margins, because of course, McDonald's is a food service related business. And even if you're not an entrepreneur in that type of, space, stick with me. But in the restaurant space, restaurant profit margins rose across the board 5%, right? And so McDonald's, if anything, in its annual report cited the difficulties in terms of adequately staffing some of its outlets. So boots on the ground, people making and ringing you up, making your food and ringing it up. They actually need more people. So it's like, why are they cutting in corporate? Back in 2020, McDonald's launched a program for marketing and sales called Accelerating the Arches. And the question today is, should you be accelerating the arches in your business as a business owner? We'll see. Um, Definitely, we're going to answer that question in this podcast. And then we're going to get to your financial offense and defense quick tips having to relate to this news, so that you can get better and stronger as a business owner. And your side hustle isn't something you get to ditch while you get another day job because you can't afford to pay all the bills. You can stick with your business and make your dreams come true. So your entrepreneurial dreams come true. So, McDonald's has said publicly that they're performing at a high level, especially because no matter where you land on this, this isn't the biggest boom time for the American economy. Although, hey, it's not as bad as some people are saying because they're stirring the pot and fear mongering on the news, on social, and elsewhere. And that's kind of good news for you in a broad brushstroke sense, because as a business owner, it's not like, God forbid, the US is in a depression, because even in the depression, 40% of all Americans back then were living above the poverty line and did have disposable income. And I always teach my students, if you're not new around here, I always teach my students on YouTube and through my paid programs, your niche may be many things. You may have many different aspects to who is your ideal customer avatar, but they should always be folks that are upper middle class and above. Come hell or high water, they should have disposable income, not be living paycheck to paycheck. You would be surprised how many students, when they come to me, paid students and new, and we really tear apart who their niche is, if they even have one. They're talking about people being lower middle class or middle class. And it's like, when you look at their income and taxation levels and you really think about the cost of living, pitching to people who don't have any money, trying to sell to them is the fastest way to go out of business. Trying to sell to people who have very little, if any, disposable income is a great way to have a starving business, which none of us want, right? So going back to the McDonald's thing, they're doing well considering what kind of economy this is. And they're pretty inexpensive / cheap, comparatively speaking, drive-through food. So, it shouldn't be surprising if you put on your entrepreneurial thinking cap to realize they're still doing well. Okay. And this is not the Depression and it's not the Great Recession. So, yes, you can market and sell well if you're marketing to the right person. You could have even a higher profit margin in and of itself than something like McDonald's if you're really careful and strategic about what you're selling and who you're selling it to. But let's look at another aspect of the layoffs. Along the way, with its Accelerate the Arches strategy that they initially launched in late 2020, McDonald's, that strategy, which they're updating and saying that now in 2023, it's basically Accelerate the Arches 2.0. McDonald's is saying that it's doubling down on three main categories of its business, which here we start to get into the takeaways for you and whether or not you need to accelerate your own arches, so to speak. The three categories are digital, sales, delivery, and drive-through. Now, the pandemic may have kind of forced McDonald's and a lot of other food service establishments, and quite frankly, a lot of other businesses that were, say, completely brick and mortar, or they were brick and mortar mostly, and okay, yeah, we're going to do the online e-commerce thing too. It forced a lot of people to come to the table with reality and to see that a lot of folks, they're going to get delivery of anything, food, supplies, anything. We're not going back to the days that everyone's trolling the mall and they're going to do their shopping there. Anybody who is upper middle class and above who wants to do it will delegate running around to do anything from food shopping to buying other types of supplies elsewhere, to getting and or making their food. They're going to want delivery. They still do now. That's not going away. So drive through is great, and McDonald's has been great on that for quite some time. So they're getting their drive through faster and more efficient. They're taking more methods of payment. So really quickly, do you need to accelerate the arches on your business? Are you capable of taking every credit card, every debit card? Are you capable of doing ACH payments, or getting, having somebody make a payment out of their checking account if they don't have a debit card? Are you taking things like Apple Pay? Are you taking other forms of contactless forms of payment, especially if you do have a brick and mortar presence at all? And or you go out and you are at expos, you are at public events where you can make sales, do you need to accelerate your arches in that kind of respect? But when it comes to digital, I'd argue that nearly every entrepreneur needs to think about their digital marketing and sales plan. Are they sufficiently omnipresent? Are they sufficiently, marketing? Hi, honey. Are they, that's my husband. Um, are they sufficiently having a daily presence on social media? And depending upon their niche and what they're into, are they really into YouTube? Do you at least have a weekly long form piece of content on YouTube? Are you putting out at least a daily YouTube short as well? So that you get enough awareness about your brand, your business, its offerings. Um, your traditional ADA marketing and sales funnel. Are they, how many people are becoming aware of your business? How many people through your content marketing and your email marketing are interested enough to even follow you on social, right? How many people decide AIDA? How many people decide, you know what, I'm going to get on their email list. I want their coupon for my first purchase from them when I'm ready, willing, and able to make that purchase. I want their freebie, their download, depending upon your business model, your email opt-in, goodie or bribe, it might be different. You might want to combine, a digital downloadable like a quick start guide that also has a coupon that's good for someone's purchase from you or their first purchase from you. Have you accelerated your arches so that you are having a sufficient daily deliverable that you put out on social, a weekly deliverable? If podcasting is really important to your niche, if YouTube channel is really important to your niche, if your niche is a heavy duty reader and blogs are still important to them, are you putting out a weekly blog post that you also will drive traffic to through social media and email? Only a couple of short years ago, McDonald's didn't even have an app. Now they not only have an app, both on the brick and mortar level and through social media digital, they're doing quite a bit to drive people onto their app. They're encouraging people to become faster and frictionless in terms of ordering and paying, and yes, getting delivery. Just the other night, my son had his friend sleep over, and the friend spent all of $3 to have a McChicken sandwich delivered to them because it just didn't even feel like leaving the house to go pick it up. And you know what? McDonald's accommodated them and got them the sale. Are you accelerating your arches in terms of how you market and sell in your business so that you are faster and more frictionless and just making it so easy for members of your niche to purchase from you? For every entrepreneur, solo business owner, small mom and pop shop or otherwise small business owner who's like, yep, Stace, I'm all over this stuff. You are preaching to the converted. There are people who will listen to this podcast and say, oh, I know, but I haven't pulled the trigger or done what I need to do in every single way, shape, and form when it comes to marketing, when it comes to sales, when it comes to taking every imaginable form of payment. People want to pay you by Venmo. Are you taking Venmo? Right? So, when it comes to McDonald's accelerating the Arches program in 2020 through the beginning of 2023, it was an updated marketing and sales focus, so that they were able to capture more sales more efficiently. Forget just in a post-pandemic world, although for them, for food service, for a lot of brick and mortar, that is rather critical, and it has been rather critical. Evolve or perish. Um, they're also looking to continue to grow. I mean, if all McDonald's did, or if most of what McDonald's did was just do the traditional TV and radio commercials and trot around Ronald McDonald the clown and like Purple Grimace the monster and the Hamburglar, I mean, seriously, they would be way out of step, way out of date. So now, why? Let's circle back to why, at least on a corporate level, for sure, McDonald's is looking to cut fat. Sure. They are looking to, um, do that. But what they really want to do with their accelerating the Arches program and with cutting the staff at the level that they're doing it at the top level is because they need fresh ideas. They want to make sure that their, relatively newer, heavy focus on omni-channel and omnipresent strategy is there. It's got three pillars that you should consider for yourself too. You need to maximize the marketing. That's pillar number one. Pillar number two is commit to the core, right? Their core audience, their core sales products. And then doubling down, category three, on their 3Ds, which again is digital, delivery, and drive-through. And yeah, it does spell MCD or McDonald's. Maximize marketing, commit to the core, and double down on what's already working, especially in a post-pandemic world, right? So look, McDonald's isn't getting rid of folks just to cut the fat. If their sales are up, even in a challenging market, it's not that they don't have the money to pay these people. They need fresh horses in the race. They need fresh thinking, right? So that they don't have so much old school thinking. Even if someone's not old, they could be more old school or traditional in terms of their thinking. They need more creativity when it comes to their marketing. For example, okay, they had their hashtag Raise Your Arches campaign, which was a remarkable success on social media. And in the meantime, there wasn't a Big Mac in sight. It's just refreshing people's attitude and beatitude about a long-standing, legacy brand, because they need to be attractive to the younger generation too, which are upwardly mobile. They're working, they have disposable income, and McDonald's is a good fit for them, right? So we're raising awareness by doing a smart combination in terms of the, Raise Your Arches campaign. McDonald's had a smart combination of niche, micro and mid-tier, and mass market, macro and mega influencers. Now, influencer marketing isn't always the panacea and cure-all that small business owners think that it is. And I'm going to have, or it could be, I'm going to have a separate podcast episode about that. But I will say that, they are looking to, because there's such a mega huge success, they can do it. They can focus on multiple niches at the same time until you get to your first $1 million threshold. When you're new or relatively new as an entrepreneur, I will say this really quickly. You're trying to get to proof of concept, getting sales from people who don't know you, just a total stranger, raising up their credit card, let's say, for example, and saying, take my money. Or you're getting to a level of profitability. You're getting to six figures, multiple six figures in terms of your success, all the way up to hitting and crossing over a seven-figure level of at least sales. You really should be focusing on one niche, one ideal customer avatar. Once you get to a million or more, you can start having multiple ideal customer avatars or multiple niches. And of course, McDonald's is a multi-billion dollar success. So they have several different avatars and they can keep up with the juggling. It's more difficult for a small business owner or a solopreneur to be able to handle marketing to so many different folks so effectively. But in terms of the Raise Your Arches campaign and weaving that into the overall trajectory of accelerating the Arches 2.0, it's clear to those who understand marketing and advertising what McDonald's is doing. They're getting out in front of a spectrum of different communities using social media as the prop or the lever to get them into or getting them back into their own ADA marketing and sales funnel. Again, recreating or refreshing that awareness, getting people interested enough to follow them on social if they really haven't, to get them to desire enough to, in McDonald's example, download their app and use it. For most entrepreneurs, especially small business, it's really important to get them on your email list, right? Social is great, YouTube is great, podcasts are great. But the thing of it is, you're doing business on rented land. The only land you own and are as about as fully in control of as you can possibly be is your own website, your own .com domain website, and your own email list. And email list marketing has, depending upon the source you Google, as high as a 4,900% ROI or return on investment. Social and everything else can't come close because that's more of a captive audience. People check their emails several times a day, even very young 20 something year olds. So we're talking about Gen Z while we're here. Email marketing can't be ignored. What are you doing to accelerate the arches in your business to even have an email list if you don't? And to drive people to that email list, at least some of the content marketing that you do on social media or elsewhere should at least sometimes get people to opt into your email list. Like, look at what I did before. If you were listening from the beginning, the don'tbeafakeguru.com website. Yes, you're going to get a free opt-in. You're going to get a free guide that will hit 10 major points that most solopreneurs and small business owners really don't grasp. 10 bases that you really need to cover effectively for your brand and your business to have an effective marketing and sales based online presence. So sure, you're going to get that. You're going to be on my email list, but it's free for you to do so. It's free for people to follow you on social or subscribe to your YouTube channel. Sure, you may as well go on to, if you're not listening to this on YouTube, you should go to the Stacey Storino YouTube channel, Stacey with an EY, Storino, S as in Sam, Tori, N as in Nancy. Oh, and you should subscribe to it. I've had this channel for years. There are literally hundreds of long form videos that can help you in terms of increasing your email marketing game, in terms of up leveling and getting more effective in terms of content marketing that converts into sales. Most importantly, of course, without sales, again, you just have a hobby. Without enough sales, you just simply have an expensive hobby. And if you're an entrepreneur, that's not what you're into, right? If you're truly an entrepreneur. So are you accelerating your arches in terms of being omni-channel? You can have a presence on multiple platforms. You can leverage software if you can't afford independent contractors and or employees to help you do it. But are you accelerating your own arches? Are you accelerating your arches in terms of lead capture? If you're not driving folks to an app, right, and you have your own email list through that app, depending upon how it's set up, are you otherwise? And in most cases, this really would be more for most folks listening to this. Are you driving people to an email list? Do you have an email list at all? Or are you simply trying to sell through social or a platform like Etsy? Etsy is just rented land. You're a coach, course creator, and you're selling on Udemy or elsewhere. That's just rented land. Seriously, you need to have your own email list that you are too legit to quit to keep selling to, right? So if you're not making the money that you want to make as an entrepreneur, part of the solution, part of that equation, is selling more. You want more sales, you got to ask for them. But that's a whole nother video and a whole nother podcast for a whole nother time. But how are you accelerating your arches in terms of having a daily deliverable, a daily presence on social media that's meant to drive people to and through your marketing and sales funnel, the AIDA funnel, getting people aware or making them become aware again, looking at your brand in a newer, fresher light, like McDonald's has been doing. Um, are you getting them interested enough in you to follow, or if they're following, to really go through your content marketing and kind of just marinate in all the goodness of it? Because that's going to increase the KLT factor, the know, like, and trust factor. Are you doing that? Um, are you getting them to interested enough to decide to get on your email list? Are you doing that? What are you doing? How about actually marketing and selling to your email list? If you don't have a promotion, a sales promotion, at least twice a month, even if you're a beginner, even if you're a solopreneur wearing all the hats, even if, say, you're an older woman and it feels kind of distasteful for you to sell, you have to have a stand and deliver moment to accelerate your own arches and to say, do I really want a hobby, or do I really want a successful business after all? Right? Maybe you don't want to quit your day job. You're happy with the income and or the benefits there. But don't you want your business to really be profitable and successful, right? So I will tell you also, from accelerating their arches in terms of putting out daily content on social and capturing leads through their app, which they definitely have your email list through that, especially the way um, McDonald's has their app set up. Across Instagram and TikTok, in their most recent promotion, McDonald's had 5.3 million views, 4.4 million impressions, and 317,000 engagements, which, if you're not clear on what that is, that's folks liking things, hearting things, commenting, where applicable on the platform, they're sharing things, they're tagging or at mentioning, what have you. When you have a diverse creator strategy, like what McDonald's has been doing by accelerating their arches, and so very quickly, I think they're cleaning out folks um, on the corporate level who aren't really a good fit for accelerating the arches 2.0, where they want to go with their marketing and sales techniques, both in real life and digitally. Anybody who's not a good fit's gonna get cut. So sure, McDonald's is going to save money if they don't replace these people, or if they replace them with newbies who are going to get paid, a cheaper salary, let's say. But I think for McDonald's, from the outside looking in, from what I can see, they're doing fine. They're still profitable. They're still 6%, 5, 6% off what they were the year before. So they're not in trouble. They're not in crisis. They're like, we want to climb higher. And so we are cutting any sort of dead weight. We are thinning the herd of people who don't fit the ever evolving, ever up leveling, ever iterative future that, track that we are on. So, they only want results like what I just said and better for every campaign that they run. You should feel the same way too. Like, this is good. Can I do better? I'm going to look at my analytics on social, for example, or in my YouTube studio for YouTube, and I'm going to make tweaks based upon the analytics that I see, so that the next time I put out content, tomorrow on social media, maybe, or next week, if you're putting out 1 to 2 long form pieces of content on YouTube a week, what have you, that the odds are very likely that the content's not just only going to perform, but might perform even better than what I did yesterday or last week. If you're not thinking like this, it's time to accelerate your own arches in terms of your marketing and sales campaign. Not saying to fire or lay off yourself. And, we're going to get to the financial offense and defense tips based upon today's news in just a minute. But I'm going to tell you, it's you've got to be willing to evolve or perish, because sooner or later that's going to happen if you don't accelerate your own arches. So McDonald's is really just not completely cleaning house from the sound of it. The cut's only going to go to a certain amount, but I think they're just going to make sure that they have the right people in place to help them continue to iterate and evolve. Um, again, they can't really go back to the classic Grimace and Hamburglar stuff that was cute a couple decades ago. It's not working now. Um, the Raise Your Arches campaign definitely involved micro influencers. And again, I'm going to have a separate podcast that's going to focus on influencers and whether or not that's a good idea for you, whether or not that's cost effective for you. And if you are going to do it, what type of influencer you need, no matter what your business is, what it sells, and who it's selling it to. So make sure that you are subscribed to my podcast. Definitely go to YouTube and subscribe to me there as well. Stacey Storino, Stacey with an EY, STORI, and as a Nancy O. But even a business like McDonald's is still interested in building awareness of its brand. It might be one of the biggest global brands on earth. Great. But you know what? That campaign allows them, the Raise Your Arches campaign they did recently, enabled McDonald's to maximize the reach of the campaign within their key demographics. So using influencers, even mid-tier to micro influencers, was very intelligent for them to do. They just didn't go to like the Kardashians and overpay for over bloated following that might be too much of everything. And so they're not going to have, even McDonald's, with all their money and all their budget, they're not going to have sufficient ROI or return on investment. So I will just say quickly here, micro influencers do tend to deliver the highest engagement rate. Mega influencers can supercharge your reach, but it's not necessarily going to have such a one-to-one ratio, powerful ratio of getting you the conversions that you want from there on out. Awareness is great. And no matter what kind of marketing and sales campaign you have, there's always going to be more awareness. Think about a funnel. The next level is interest. There's going to be fewer people interested in following you or taking that next step than just becoming aware of you. But if you're a business owner, it's all about getting people to go to and through your marketing and sales funnel, because you want them to get to the point where they decide to get on that email list and take action. The final A in the ADA funnel is to take action and buy from you. And if you don't have at least 2% of people going into and through your marketing and sales funnel that are buying from you, then something's broken in your funnel and you need to fix that level or those levels where it's not working, or it's not working as well as you would like for your own ROI, your own return on investment. So McDonald's collaborating with other creators, other, influencers definitely helped to put a fresh approach and spin on its brand to reinvigorate interest in it. So McDonald's CEO, Chris, I'm gonna slur it, Kempczynski, maybe I didn't, Chris Kempczynski, announced that there's, what this layoff is, and really it's strictly more at the corporate level. It's just an internal reorganization that's designed to refocus the chain's priorities. Because, as I've discussed throughout the bulk of this podcast, they are thinning the herd, they're dumping the dead weight internally so that any outdated and self-limiting approaches and mindsets are gone. Okay. And again, he reiterated in a Forbes magazine article that just came out. The McDonald's CEO said it's really not so much to reduce costs. It's just to promote innovation and efficiency. So honestly, what are you doing? What are you cutting out? And what are you doubling down on? So let's get to the tips. Entrepreneurial financial offense, entrepreneurial financial defense. What are you cutting that doesn't make any sense to you anymore in terms of annual expenses, monthly expenses, anything like that? Because you've outgrown it, you don't need it anymore, it's not innovative enough for you. Is there any sort of fat that you can cut? Again, in terms of McDonald's, it's not crazy so much to cut the fat as it is to innovate, but you have to ask yourself, what kind of dead weight can I cut so that financial defense wise, I'm not wasting money? On the flip side, financial offense, what can I invest into Is it software? Because you're a solopreneur wearing all the hats and you're just doing too much for too long. You do have profitability. You should reinvest some of it back into your business so you don't burn out, break your own back. What can you invest in that makes sense for you where you are right now to help you cover your daily deliverable, help you cover your daily base on social media? If you can do it through freemium, great. But at some point, for most of you, you're going to want or need to invest into one or more tools to help do the heavy lifting for you. And even as you grow a team, they don't need to be, doing the longhand math. You want to free them up for the stuff they're really good for. So maybe they're using the tools with you or in place of you, but tools do make sense. And for a lot of smaller entrepreneurs, tools are where you start. Independent contractors might be the next step. And then employees might part-time, full-time might be the step after that. Not every business, looking at McDonald's as an example, is going to be cutting people at the corporate level or holistically just to cut fat. Um, Zoom might. Everybody was zooming and now, they're still zooming. Okay. Zoom isn't going under, but you know what? They're cutting fat because they overhired during the pandemic. They went a little bit too hog wild. Is that something you've done where you need to cut? Or do you need to let somebody go, get a different independent contractor? Because you know what? You're at odds with your vision, and or you need to hire somebody on to help take you to the next level in terms of marketing, sales, or both. If you don't want a hobby and you do want a business and you want to scale and grow that business from a side hustle, let's say, to startup levels of success, then not only is this a podcast for you and listening to this is free, going to my YouTube channel and subscribing there, the Stacey Storino YouTube channel, subscribing to it's free. But what can you invest in that would help you with your marketing and sales journey? I humbly recommend that you go to Funnel Dynasty, all one word, funneldynasty.com, to see my premium offering that can help you with a ton of material that can take you from scratch or close to a business blueprint from beginner to intermediate type business or business owner to advanced, where there's really no limit on what you can do other than you. You're just going to scale and grow to the moon. You want to take a look at funneldynasty.com. So look, make sure that you pick up your free guide of mine, at least at don'tbeafakeguru.com, all one word. And yes, we're at the end of the podcast, but listen, all this talk has me really curious to see what you think about what we've covered today. McDonald's isn't really so much cutting fat as it is, cutting out dead weight and looking to iterate and grow further. What do you need to do? Or what do you think about McDonald's move to, continue in its quest to get bigger, harder, faster, more and more effectively in today's marketing and sales environment, right? So let me know by commenting down below if you're watching the video podcast version. Let me know if you're listening to an audio podcast of this, wherever it is. You go navigate over to the Stacey Storino channel. You find episode 1 in this example, and you place your questions and your comments down below. We'll get back to you because honestly, that's the best place to get to me right now. All this talk really just has me curious to know, what do you think about this? And instead of being afraid of the layoffs in terms of the case of McDonald's, what does that do to galvanize you as a business owner so that you kind of accelerate your own arches too? Please navigate over to the Stacey Storino channel on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and click on that bell notification and select all, because you can not only get your questions, concerns, and such addressed by me on those videos and all of my podcasts, lives, and replays, and YouTube is, video podcasts too. But if you're into that, but I also have plenty of snackable sized YouTube shorts as well with great tips, tricks, and techniques to help you with your marketing and sales as well. I always do want to hear from you. So on YouTube currently, that's the best place to reach out to me and get me to answer back. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you on YouTube.